Hey everyone, hope you all are well. I'm kicking things off today by adding some eyeshadow primer. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow primer. Goes onto the eyes pretty much clear, and with a primer like this I like to always take my foundation across the lids first, so I have a nice blank canvas to start out on, and the addition of this primer will just help the shadows to go on nice and smoothly, blend nice and easily, and last all day long too. And I'm just applying it to the eyes with the Sigma 3D HD Precision eyeshadow brush. I have another Valentine's look for you all today. It's pretty much drugstore focused, and I'm taking this Wet n Wild 10 pan palette called Heart and spelt Sol. It has a nice array of warm tone shadows in a mix of mattes, metallics and satin finishes, and the first shade that I've taken is the peachy coral shade, the second shadow in from the right. I've picked it up on a Blank Canvas Cosmetics E26 blending brush, and I'm just adding a wash of this colour into the crease, and this will be our transition shade. So it's just going to appear like a halo over the other shadows that I'll be adding soon, and I'm just using circular motions to buff this colour back and forward in the crease. Once I've got that one layer down and I've no product left on my brush, I'm going back in, picking up some more, dusting off the excess just before I apply to the eyes to reduce the risk of fallout, and now I'm using back and forward sweeping motions once again to fade the shadow into the crease. And when it comes to the outer corner of the eye, I'm winging it outwards towards the tail of the brow just to help elongate the eyes. You could also round off the shadow too, completely up to yourself. So I'm going back to the palette now, taking the first shade on the bottom row on the left hand side. This is what I thought was nearly like a deep burgundy colour, because that's how it appears in the pan. I've picked this up on a Sigma E25 blending brush, which is just a little bit smaller than the one that I was using previously. And I've started by tapping this down on the outer third of the eyelid, and then I'm gradually swirling it up into the crease. Now, it's much more of a vibrant pink shade on the eyes, as you can see, which I actually wasn't expecting. I love Wet n Wild shadows. I always have. I love the brand in general. I just think the quality of their products is phenomenal, great value for money, and I think everybody knows that by now, that I am a big fan of the brand. And I picked up this palette recently, and I just figured that they had changed the packaging, but I think the formula is a little bit different. I just found the shadows a bit harder to blend. You know, they were always so buttery and so smooth, really pigmented, and they still do pack a punch colour wise, but as you can see with this shade in particular, it does differ on the eyes compared to how it looks in the pan. So I've just gone back in with that blank canvas brush now. I'm running around the edges of the look just to make sure that those two colours blend seamlessly into one another. For a bit of depth now, I'm going in with this brownish shade right next to that pink on the bottom row. It's the deepest tone in the palette, so I'm going to use this then naturally to deepen up the look. I've picked it up on a Sedona Lace 904. This is like a pencil / smudger brush, and you'll have noticed as I've worked my way up through the colours, the deeper the shade, the smaller the brush that I've used. And this is just because as we work our way up to the darker tones, I want to apply less of them. So the smaller the brush, the more precise the application, and therefore the more control that I have. So I've started working the brown into the lash line on the outer third of the eye. I've angled it up towards like kind of the tail of the brow, and then just outwards. I've pulled it then at an angle and then back in across the crease. So I've started fading it out, buffing it lightly across the lid, and then out in the direction of the brow. And I just want those shadows to fade out to nothing the closer to the brow bone that we get. So this shadow I did find required a bit of work. You know, it's not a bad palette by any means at all. It just takes a bit of time to build up some of the shades and blend them. I would still recommend it. Like, I do think it's a good palette, but there is just something different with the formula. I just prefer the old one. In saying that though, this is the first palette that I've used in that new packaging. I have bought a few more, but just haven't got to use them yet. So it'll be interesting to see if it's consistent across the rest of the range. I'll keep you posted. And if you've actually tried the range, do let me know if you found a difference compared to the older palettes. But once I've layered up that brown now, I'm going back in with that Sigma brush that I used to apply the pink, and I'm placing the brush down in the crease, blending back and forward once again, just overlapping the brown using any excess shadow that may be on the brush, just to help those two shadows fuse together. Next then, I'm taking that pink shimmery shade, the third shadow in on the top row, and I'm using a Blank Canvas Cosmetics flat C-shaped brush. This is the E24, and I'm using this to pat the shadow onto the lid. Now I did spray my brush with a little setting spray in case it needed that to pack a punch, and I was very happy with how the shadow performed. It does leave a nice shimmery pink appearance to the lid. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a bullet shaped brush. This is just one from a Vanity Planet set from years ago. I've taken up that pink shade and I'm running this down now along the lower lash line. So starting on the outer corner, using little wriggly motions, bringing it all the way into the tear duct, just running back and forward to blend it out. Then I'm going in with that Sedona Lace pencil brush once again. I've picked up a touch more of the brown and I'm wriggling this into the lash line, mainly keeping it to the outer third. I want the depth just to be there, and again that helps just to kind of pull the eyes and open them up. Just helps to elongate them once the darkness is focused to the outer edge. Then I'm taking an angled brush and a little bit more of that brown and I'm pressing this in along the upper lash line from outer to inner corner, just lining along there. Then usually what I would do is if I'm applying a lighter colour to the waterline and I have used vibrant shades previously, I will always take a cotton bud and I'll just run it along the inside of the eye to take off any of that excess product that may have fallen onto the waterline, get rid of any of the shadow, and then I'm going in with a light nude pencil in on the waterline. If I had just gone in on the waterline with the pencil first, it would have mixed with any of the pink fallout onto the waterline and changed the colour of it, so just a nice little tip. The lashes that I used are actually from Penny's years ago. They were like part of a Mickey Mouse collection, but any lashes will do. And then I'm using the Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara just to blend my own lashes in with the false ones and to coat the bottom lashes too. And that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and I'll catch you all really soon.